tips to pros and everything in between. It's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Live from the Lee Company studio. With the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, here's Chris Yao.
What's going on out there in radio land? Also on the internet and on the interwebs, the internets. No more capital I. Thank you, AP Style. Appreciate that. We are.
Why was it ever?
The internet was a proper noun at one point, I guess. Oh man, it is Hump Day, Wednesday, coming to you right here on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. I am Chris Yao, joined as always by Maurice Patton and JP Plant. Excited to be with you here on this. I guess it's still Hump Day because it's the back half of the week starts in about 53 minutes for most folks who are working 9 to 5. What a way to make a living.
Barely getting by.
Wednesday is always a fun day because it's wild and wacky and we get super crazy. But one of the cool things is we get to talk to Jeff Him of Nashville Sounds, Terry the Chicken Man talking NASCAR. Today we get to visit with Teresa Walker, who will help us get ready for Sunday's season opener for the Tennessee Titans and talk other NFL news from across the way. But we have a huge bit of top stories right now, which means that we need to give you yesterday's results and today's schedule and on the rundown, I guess.
This is the Rundown.
In volleyball action from Tuesday, Lincoln County defeated Columbia Central 3-1. These next three results were all sweeps. Loretto swept Collinwood 3-0. It was Summertown 3-0 over Hampshire and Independence 3-0 over Franklin.
On the pitch, it was Warren County 7, Summit 2. East Hickman defeated Loretto 5-3. It was Cornersville edging Culleoka 3-2. Huntland blanked Fayetteville 5-0, and Franklin County a 7-2 winner over Columbia Central.
In volleyball action today, Harpeth plays at Santa Fe. That's a 6 o'clock start. At 6:30, Summit hosts Harpeth Hall, and Spring Hill travels to Stewart's Creek at some point today.
There you have it. That is your Wednesday rundown on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Short rundown helps us get to these top stories a little quicker. But the first thing I need to do, if you are in Maury County and you are getting your news as it pertains to high school sports anywhere other than this show or Main Street media, please be advised that Mount Pleasant is not playing football this week. They are not traveling to Whitwell or anywhere else. That game is not scheduled. It was never scheduled, has never been scheduled, and was never going to be played. That is all I need to say. Do not go to Whitwell this week if you're a Mount Pleasant fan, no matter what else you've heard elsewhere.
Or read.
Now, let's do this first. We're already, since we're talking about high school games that are not going to get played this week, give you the 8 games that we know of as of right now that have been canceled.
Now, these are games that were actually scheduled but are now not taking place, as opposed to games that never were scheduled.
Correct. There are 8 games across the state that will not take place due to COVID-19 cancellations, including in Metro, Nashville, John Overton High School, and Maplewood will not play.
And that's a little disappointing. That's the Arcente Broom Bowl, as current Overton coach Arcente Broom came there this year from Maplewood. So that would have been fun for a lot of folks, and it's unfortunate that one's not coming off.
South Pittsburgh was set to play Murphy, North Carolina. That's not going to happen.
You know the significance of Murphy, North Carolina, right?
No, tell me.
Carl Pickens.
Okay, well that makes sense.
Not really. It's just, but that's where he played his high school ball.
I mean, I don't know why my South Pittsburgh was
That would have. I'm sure that had nothing to do with it. It's just
it's just odd. But, Grundy County, Bledsoe County, Stellar Prep out of California, not going to play McCallie. Clinton and Cherokee, Scott, Austin East, and Oneida, Oliver Springs. All of those games have been canceled due to COVID. All right.
One game that is taking place next Thursday.
Please read. Can we just read the tweet from Joe Rex? I'm sorry, not tweet. Let's tweets.
Tweets, plural. Yeah,
plural.
series thereof. Yeah. Let's.
The Tennessee Titans, JP, are going to host Waverly next Thursday. According to Titans CEO Burke Nihil, or Nihil, I don't know how to say it.
Nihil, I believe.
The Titans are hosting Waverly next Thursday.
Okay, so Joe starts out. Titans CEO Burke Nihil says Titans will host Waverly football for a home game Thursday. Then he comes back in parentheses. To be clear, that's a week from tomorrow, September 16th. Very good tweeting from me today.
Keep going.
Then he's got brackets. Oh, and the Titans aren't actually playing Waverly. They're allowing Waverly to have a home game in Nissan. Thanks, bye. So being the smart fill in the blank person that I am, smart Alec that I am, I jumped in and said, Waverly versus White House, September 16th at Nissan. There.
And that's Nissan Stadium, not Franklin. They're not playing
or Benton or
Nissan. They are playing at Nissan Stadium. The Titans are
not at the Nissan factory in wherever
in Murfreesboro.
Yeah, no, none of that. No, it's at Nissan Stadium.
Oh man, yes. Waverly is playing a football game against White House, not against the Titans, but the Titans are going to be hosting the two at Nissan Stadium. So there you go.
All of that said,
that's awesome.
Pretty clutch.
How do we get in? I got to find a way to get into this game.
I'd like to think we wouldn't have a problem, but on the other hand, I'm not sure.
Don't know who to go to. Is this like every other high school game where you just show your pass? Is it not? I don't know.
If you've got a pass, which it was brought to my attention when I went to a soccer game here locally last night that not everyone does. I'll leave that at that. But it kind of goes back to your Mount Pleasant game that's not being played.
There you go.
Yeah. No, seriously, this is huge for the Titans to come through for the Tigers like this with everything that's gone on over the past few weeks in Waverly and in Humphreys County. And so that'll be the thrill of a lifetime, both for those kids and for White House's kids as well.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I mean, you're the beneficiary of a game being played at Nissan Stadium. So that's pretty cool. Couple of one quick note. Let's just get, before we get to the sad parts. Blue Raider graduate student Sophie Burks named Conference USA Women's Golfer of the Week, Mo.
Yeah, it was announced earlier today. Sophie set an MTSU record with a 11 under 205 for 3 rounds at the USA Intercollegiate Golf Course in Mobile.
Probably in high school.
Maybe she had a little insider information because she tore it up 68, 68, 69 for the 3 rounds. So congrats to Sophie. Finished 3rd at the USA Intercollegiate and earned CUSA Women's Golfer of the Week honors.
And finally, news that we will get to at some point, maybe not today. Cincinnati has applied to the Big 12. That's a pretty big deal. We'll see how that plays out. Let that kind of marinate for a little bit. Hopefully we can talk about that later today or tomorrow.
Yeah, the Cincinnati Enquirer has reported it, and the Athletic has followed up. So
also a loss, huge loss in the Tennessee boys basketball world.
Ted Anderson, who over 36 years at Memphis Hamilton and Memphis Douglas won 518 games and a state championship at Hamilton, died Monday at the age of 77. That 518 wins made him the 9th all-time winningest coach in Shelby Metro history. And he is the stepfather of Todd Day, who you might have heard of from Memphis high school ranks, and he was a star over at Arkansas, played in the NBA, and is now coaching at Philander Smith. So Ted Anderson passed away earlier this week.
And another big loss to the college football community, specifically also former Patriot Sam Bam Cunningham, passed away yesterday. And Sam Cunningham, to my dad, my dad will tell you that he saved Alabama football, because when he came to Legion Field and just absolutely destroyed Alabama, that was the day that Bear Bryant said, "Hey, can I recruit black athletes now?" And finally, the university said, "Okay, you can recruit black athletes now." And Sylvester Croom comes along.
135 yards and 12 carries with 2 touchdowns in a 42-21 rout, according to ABC News.
It was, too.
In 1970 of predominantly white Alabama.
That's poor wording. That's poor wording. I mean, sure, I guess. No, not pre. No, it was pretty dominantly. It was dominantly white. No, I mean, had Sam Cunningham not done what he did for USC against Alabama, the team of the 70s doesn't happen. I mean, you don't see that national championships that you saw at Alabama, 74, 77, 78. That doesn't happen.
In the same paragraph, his performance was credited with having influenced the university and Coach Bear Bryant to widely recruit more black players and accelerate the integration of the sport in the South.
I would like to note that Bear Bryant orchestrated this whole thing. It did not influence Bear Bryant. Bear Bryant used this to influence everybody else. He said, "Hey, come play in Birmingham. I need you to come play in Birmingham. Coach, we don't want to do that. Our black kids don't want to play in the South. Please come to Birmingham. I promise you it will be worth it." And it was.
And I will thank you later.
And I will thank you later, because the next year they went to L.A. and whipped that tail.
In 1971, Alabama had black players on scholarship for the first time and played for the national title. Who knew? Huh? Yeah.
Bear knew what he was doing. He wasn't no dummy. Anyway, it's important to note. So, Sam, thank you.
Jerry Claiborne, a former Bryant assistant, famously said Sam Cunningham did more to integrate Alabama in 60 minutes than Martin Luther King did in 20 years.
Nailed it.
There you go. I did not realize until a little bit ago, Sam Cunningham is Randall Cunningham's older brother.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
That's cool news. Yeah. So, all right, we got to go. We'll be back. Jeff Him on the other side of the break. Stick around. Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Right back after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
Fast Stop Markets is a full-service, family-owned convenience store chain located in 14 locations throughout Middle and West Tennessee. For those in our listening area, you can find them in Columbia, Centerville, Lawrenceburg, Spring Hill, Dixon, and White Bluff.
Fast Stop partners with wholesale fuel brands like Shell, Marathon, and Exxon, delivering a consistent customer experience that is fast, friendly, and clean. If it's not already, it will soon become your go-to store to shop in town or on the road. Fast Stop Markets is proud to be keeping you moving in Tennessee.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ned Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com. Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Sports talk show you've always wanted. It's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. From preps to pros. Live from the Lee Company studio. With the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, here's Chris Yao.
Welcome back in Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. Mo, it's a good day today. It's been a good day. What did you get done today? Anything exciting?
No, not really.
Nothing exciting?
I've just kind of been taking it easy, kind of the calm before
Still
the storm.
prepping.
Yeah, because this next couple of days is going to be hectic, we'll say.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to relax a little more, tonight's as good of a night as any to go to First Horizon Ballpark as the Sounds continue their homestand against the Memphis Redbirds after a 9-7 win last night, getting the dub for Dylan File. And if you get out there, you can get you a co-branded apron. Tennessee and the Nashville Sounds is a little checkerboarded apron, and I feel like Sarah would let me wear that before she would let me wear the checkerboard overalls that I have. I feel like she would be more open to that. I don't know.
I think so too.
Jeff, Jeff Him joins us now, the play-by-play voice of the Nashville Sounds. Jeff, did you wear your co-branded apron over the weekend on Labor Day?
I did not wear it over the weekend because I was working games in Louisville. I'll use that as my excuse. But I will say, I think, if you need a little bit of ammo with your household, I think there's practicality in the apron. Now, there might be an expectation that you then have to actually go grill or cook something.
I do all the cooking.
May or may not be in favor of, but the apron is practical. The overalls, I mean, I guess you could go, do some yard work wearing the overalls too, but you could say, hey, I'm wearing this because, this, that, and the other. And then by the end of the day, you might just actually have to sort of try to produce a cheeseburger or hot dogs on the grill or something to make it pay off.
We'll stick with hot dogs for now. The less work, the better.
Jeff, I know you guys had to be glad to get out of Louisville.
Yeah, Rick Sweet would tell you the same thing, and he's won more games in that ballpark than anybody. He managed there for 7 years for the Reds, not all that long ago, but we've had 2 series up there, and they did not go great. The stat that I have discovered is that the Sounds went 8-16 against Louisville this year, and they are 50-36 against everybody else. So we're in good shape now that we're done playing Louisville.
Well, thank goodness. Yeah. Hey, tell me something. You saw Hunter Green. What do you think of him?
I mean, there's just obviously amazing giftedness there. I mean, I know it's not effortless to throw it triple digits. He makes it look that way. I mean, it just zips out of his hand like it's smooth and free and easy. And, it's easy to say, yeah, well, what's he throw besides that? Because big league hitters can hit that, which is true. He's got pretty good secondary stuff, too. I mean, I think the big thing for him is that he just has not had a lot of professional innings yet. The timing of last year with no minor league season, combined with his comeback and timing as it turned out with the Tommy John surgery that he had, he's not had very many innings as a professional, and certainly not many at AA or AAA, and none at AAA until this year. So, I think there's still a little bit more time needed, but it also depends on what do the Reds want him to be. Do they really want him to be a starter long term? Certainly when a guy can throw 100, other than the Jacob deGroms of the world, you tend to think, okay, maybe he's more of an Aroldis Chapman type, and you think closer just because of the velocity. But if he's got enough other stuff and he can build up the stamina to go 5, 6, 7 innings regularly, which he's shown some ability to do this year, I think there's an argument to be made that he can continue on as a starter. I'm not pretending to know what the Reds are going to do or that I'm on the level they are in making that decision. But there's options, and there is potential through the roof for that kid. There's no doubt about that.
Number 2 pick overall in 2017, two-way guy. Could have easily been a hitter. I guess everybody feels like right now he is in the right spot in terms of position player versus pitcher.
I would think so. They have gone both ways with like Michael Lorenzen before. So I don't know if they've ever, if they've announced any sort of declaration to shut the door on him being a position player. But he hasn't, to my knowledge, he has not had any time as a position player at the professional level. I want to say he DH'd a few times in rookie ball because he can't hit, but I don't get the vibe that they're thinking of converting him back, but the ability would seem to be there. That's certainly a possibility.
Speaking with Jeff Him, the play-by-play voice of the Nashville Sounds, last night, Sounds get a big win on Rick Sweet's 69th birthday, a 9-7 decision over the Redbirds. That's a pretty nice birthday present, especially when you get some big hits from folks you need them from, like Tim Lopes, who had a 2-run jack.
Yeah, and you kind of took the words out of my mouth. I think that's what he wanted for his birthday, was a victory, especially after things had gone last week in Louisville. So I think it was a good night. And, man, you talk about young prospects. The Sounds certainly have plenty, and so do the Redbirds. They've got some hitters. and they do not go away. I mean, it was shades of what we saw in Memphis a few weeks ago, with how just wild games, close games. You know, you think, okay, we're up this many runs, should be in good shape. They don't go away. The Redbirds just kept coming at it, and it ended up being a closer game than it kind of felt like it should have been, or in some stretches of the game it didn't feel close, but they ended up making it close. And then Luke Barker got another 4-out save and locked it down to wrap it up. But the Redbirds don't go away, and they've got some young talent on that team too. The Sounds Redbirds matchups are always fun because, for obvious reasons, there's kind of that regional rivalry, and the cities are rivals, I guess you might say, in some sense. But then there's the talent on the field, and you know the Cardinals are typically going to have a pretty good farm system, and we see that every year with Memphis. So the games on the field always seem to play out that way too because of the talent on both sides.
16 hits in this win last night, as Chris mentioned. Tim Lopes with the 2-run homer. Mario Feliciano with a 2-run single early in the game. Dylan File with a RBI single. So pretty deep attack last night.
It was, and I think for Feliciano, it's really nice to see. I mean, he's only played in 25 games this year because he's had these stretches where his shoulder has been an issue. So to see him kind of making up for lost time late in the year, getting some reps on the field as a catcher, you know, improving his game calling and his pitch framing, and then getting the at-bats has been really good. I mean, this is a guy the Brewers are really high on, and for obvious reasons. He's young, he's very talented. He's only 22 years old. And, you know, I talked about this a couple of weeks ago when the Brewers had former big leaguer Charlie Green in town. He's their longtime catching coordinator. You know, at the trading deadline, the Brewers traded away Peyton Henry to the Marlins to get a reliever at that time, given the year that Milwaukee is having. And trading away a prospect like Henry just further, to me anyway, and I think Charlie agreed, solidifies how important the Brewers feel Feliciano is to them over the next few years as a young catcher. So to have missed the time that he's missed and see him now producing, like you mentioned, with another multi-hit game last night, knocking in a couple of runs, has been really good to see, because it's not just for this year. It's kind of those building blocks to be that much more comfortable at AAA if, and I think it's safe to presume, you see a guy like Feliciano here to start 2022.
Chris's boy Bryce Turang goes 3 for 5 with a pair of doubles and 2 runs scored.
Well, that's another one. I mean, a very, very talented young player who just needs the time at a new level. AAA, very different than AA in terms of how pitchers work you, what they can do, what they know, how they can set you up. And so just the volume of being out there for Bryce is huge. Another guy who is very much a long-term opportunity for the Brewers, the way he's so talented. So to see him out there and producing late in the year, really valuable as you kind of extrapolate toward next spring.
Speaking with Jeff Helm, the play-by-play voice of the Nashville Sounds. Jeff, there's no playoffs at the AAA level this year, so 6-18 or 7-18 now over your last 25 doesn't necessarily hurt you. Obviously, you want to win every time you go out there, but I mean, what is the objective for the Sounds as they come down the stretch, playing after Labor Day for the first time in a while with the 10 extra games that have been added onto the back end of the schedule?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think there are multiple layers to it. For one, for a lot of these guys, it's easy to forget now because this season, for a lot of ways, has felt fairly normal. A lot of these guys didn't play anywhere last year, a good number of them. So there's just an individual financial situation for them to get another month of time and paychecks. That's huge for a lot of the guys. These are not millionaires in large part playing AAA ball. So that's one thing, and just the volume of games for them relative to what they probably didn't get last year. Then there's the component, like I mentioned, with Turang and Feliciano, just getting more repetition at a new level, relatively speaking, and getting prepared for next year. But then there's also the component of what the Brewers are doing at the big league level. They've got a nice lead in their division. They're almost certainly to be playoff bound, and they're thinking more than just a division title. So any piece at AAA, in my opinion, is fair game to get used at some point, either in the regular season or, as you guys know, teams get really specific sometimes in what they're looking for on a playoff roster, whether it's a pinch runner or, oh, we want to have an extra lefty off the bench, or we want to have another lefty in the bullpen, whatever it may be. These guys are not far from an opportunity, and the Brewers have the luxury of a comfortable lead atop the division where they can try to get specific in where they might want guys and what they might look for. And then we always know, what, regardless of sport, you know, the Brewers did have one kind of COVID outbreak earlier in the year. No team in any sport is that far from that kind of a situation still. So you need guys ready at the next level down. And in this case for baseball, that's the AAA level. So, and that's just the reality of where we're at with COVID. So those are just a few things right off the bat from an on-field standpoint. Then there's obviously, from a Sounds front office standpoint, a revenue opportunity with more games after April came off the schedule and we had no season last year. Just another few games to get fans in here is massive for the industry of minor league baseball.
We are looking forward to the rest of this series, Jeff, as the Sounds continue through Sunday. The schedule is, let's see, what are the game times here? We've got 7:05 and then 6:15 on Sunday, right?
Yep. And then we'll be back for the final stretch that Mo referenced. We'll have Columbus here Wednesday, September 22nd through Sunday, the 26th. And those will be the final 5 home games overall this year, later this month.
And then one more trip to Gwinnett, just for good measure, because you guys haven't been. Do y'all have second homes down there now? Or
I was just going to say, I got to go check in and make sure the mail's still coming to my home away from home. You know? Pay a couple electric bills that I might be behind on at the hotel in Gwinnett.
I think at this point they're just trying to make up for all the years that you guys didn't play down there, I guess.
Well, hey, that's fair. You know, I'll take convenience. We had a lot of years of inconvenience in the Pacific Coast League travel. I'll take convenience. I'm good with that.
Oh, no doubt. Jeff Himm, play-by-play voice of the Nashville Sounds. Jeff, thanks for joining us today, man. We appreciate it as always, and we look forward to talking to you again soon.
Sounds great, guys. Be well.
All right. Hey, we got about a minute and a half left, and I wanted to mention this before because we have such a jam-packed show today. We don't have a whole lot of time to get any news in, but the Women's College World Series has added 2 days. There will be now a 9-day event, so they will allow some flexibility with their scheduling so that you don't have to watch games at midnight and then be back at 2 o'clock the next day for a game. So, well done, NCAA. About time. Of course, you know, reaction. The NCAA, the kings of reaction, reactionary decisions.
Yeah, no sense in being proactive if you don't have to.
If it doesn't work, we'll try again. All right. We're going to go to Terry Wilcox in the next segment. So we'll talk some NASCAR. Darlington. We'll talk Richmond this weekend. NASCAR going to Hollywood. So lots to talk about in the next segment. So stick around. The Chicken Man will join us. Of course, Teresa Walker in the next hour talking Titans. We'll talk about the Atlanta Braves. And, of course, it's Wild and Wacky Wednesday. So all the weirdest and wildest news from across the world. Going to be a lot of fun. So stick around. We have Florida Woman today, Mo. So it should be fun. Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Come back after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
Fast Stop Markets is a full-service, family-owned convenience store chain located in 14 locations throughout Middle and West Tennessee. For those in our listening area, you can find them in Columbia, Centerville, Lawrenceburg, Spring Hill, Dixon, and White Bluff.
Fast Stop partners with wholesale fuel brands like Shell, Marathon, and Exxon, delivering a consistent customer experience that is fast, friendly, and clean. If it's not already, it will soon become your go-to store to shop in town or on the road. Fast Stop Markets is proud to be keeping you moving in Tennessee.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ned Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Local sports talk you'll only find here. It's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Live from the Lee Company studio with the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, here's Chris Yao.
Yeah, we're doing some testing. So right before you said come on back at what, 35? That's when the rejoin played. So now we know.
Is my mic on? Okay.
This is going to be a new tradition of we're going to play this game every day. Is Mo's mic on? Oh man. Okay, so now we know. We're good now, JP. Now we know. It's good news.
So we're looking 30 seconds?
Yeah, so if
what we're going with?
Yeah, you can do what you did right on the top, and we're good.
Okay.
So, all right. Sorry that you guys have to be our testing world, but it is what it is. We're trying our best to get the kinks worked out of all the new equipment we always have new equipment here. It's never the same. It's always new. So if the Chicken Man was running the board, JP, we wouldn't have this issue. No. Terry said, "Don't throw me under the bus."
Hey, JP is the master. I'm going to tell you right now. Anything I do, I learn from him. So.
Don't put that juju on him.
That doesn't help me much, Terry. No, I'm kidding.
But hopefully not the mistakes.
Terry Wilcox, the Chicken Man, joining us here as he does each Wednesday, talking a little NASCAR. We'll talk a little bit about last week, a little bit about next week, and a little about next season. Yeah. So, Terry, tell us, Denny Hamlin with a big win, Kyle Larson right behind him.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin got the win. His pit crew got him out in front, and that was what it took. Larson was a better car, but when you got out front, you had clean air. He was able to hold him off. Whenever Larson got out front, he just ran away from everybody. But that's the name of the game. You know, it's a team sport, whether people realize it or not. And Denny Hamlin's crew got the job done. They secured. They actually got the win for him. I'll tell you, that last lap was amazing. If you watched it, Hamlin just let it all fly and ran right up back behind him. But too bad he didn't spin him out. But anyways, but a good finish. And don't be surprised to see that play out again this week. Hamlin runs very well at Richmond. He's from the Virginia area anyways. But those two could very well be up there again this week. So don't be surprised.
Yeah, Larson on the pole at Richmond because of the way that they do the polls now, Mo. Yeah. It's not, you don't go out there and qualify like you used to. You know, it's not fastest lap. Like 25% of it is where you finish, 25% is where the rest of your team finishes, and then 15% is how your fastest lap from the week before, and like all this stuff. It's so crazy, the formula. But Kyle Larson apparently getting the pole here in Richmond. Richmond, another Saturday race. We got 2 Saturdays in a row.
Yeah, we got another one next weekend too. So yeah, we're gonna we actually got Richmond and then
Bristol
Saturday night as well. So I tell you, it's fun, exciting racing. People like it. You get into a little bit shorter tracks before you turn and go to Las Vegas and Talladega. But yeah, Denny Hamlin, he got the job done. I mean, all year long he was close. Kept waiting for him to win, and some other guys, Harvick ran real well quite a bit of the day. So, and of course, Kyle called me a crybaby Busch. Doesn't like it when his car's not perfect.
Why was he so angry?
He's always, whenever his car is off like it was, he does that. He's a 10-year-old spoiled brat. He grew up that way. He's had everything handed to him, and he expects everything to be perfect. He won't take blame when it's his fault, but he'll definitely blame the crew when it's their fault.
Well, his wallet's getting blamed this week.
Now, yeah, $50,000 to him. Yeah, that's like $50 to you and I. So the guy's a multimillionaire. So not really that big a deal. They should have docked points. That would have been a wake-up call because he's down at the bottom now, as you know. He's in the bottom 4. But again, don't be surprised to see him win one of the next 2 races either. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, a couple surprises down there at the bottom. 2 of the Hendrick cars. That was surprising, but they kind of got into each other, if you will. So that stuff happens. But Richmond night race should be a good one. Nice track. So we'll see. 3/4 mile track. But that's what's coming up this weekend. Don't be surprised to see the same. You're going to see the same players up front. Hopefully Martin Truex Jr. can. He struggled. He had a little bit of trouble last week, but that team's a good team. I look for them to rebound as well. And again, this is another one. Tyler Reddick, he loves that. He loves to run against the wall, and this is a track you can do that with. It's got that big sweeping curve coming out of 3 all the way out of 4 all the way to 1. It's a big circle, so semicircle, if you will. So should be good. The season's winding down, buddy. But we got some other news that come out, as you know. Looks like they're going to announce the schedule for next year next week sometime. And early reports are that Gateway in Chicago, it's in Illinois, it's not in Chicago. but they're going to get possibly a race, take one of the two from Pocono from the doubleheader. And the bigger news is if they run that All-Star Busch Clash, it was used to be called, at the LA Coliseum right off the bat. Not hearing a lot of positive news from the drivers and teams on that, but they'll race wherever they tell them to race. But it'll be a half-mile track, which I don't know. It doesn't make. I think they should look at it maybe for 23, but I think 22 is too quick, especially with all the COVID issues California has. So just my thoughts. So
Well, a lot of folks saying that, NASCAR running in the Coliseum. This would not be the first time that they've run in the Coliseum, but it would be the first time in probably 50 plus years, and it'd be the first time they don't start at Daytona since '81.
Yeah, you're right. That's usually where it's at. They changed it up a little bit this year when the Busch Clash was actually on the road course. Normally it's at the same at the 2.5 mile track. So, but NASCAR, I got to give them credit. They're not afraid to take chances. Who I didn't expect them to come back to Nashville Super Speedway, and they did running dirt in Bristol, adding all them road courses. I mean, that's what people have been clamoring for, something different. They don't want those 1.5-mile cookie cutter tracks. So, and Gateway's not. Gateway's, I think, is a mile and a. I think it's like Nashville. I think it's 1.25 miles, 1.33 miles, something like that. So it's a little different. So I'd like to see him go to Iowa myself too. That's a 3/4 mile track. I think that'd be great. Hopefully in 23 they'll be at the fairgrounds. I think that's going to happen too. So
Gateway is 1.25, but it's shaped funny.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You want different tracks. That way it gives drivers that maybe you wouldn't expect to win at certain tracks, gives them a chance. So that's where the dirt track came in, where they race there. The road courses throw another wrinkle into it. You can go from a 1/2 mile track all the way up to a 2.5 mile track, or 2 and 3, like Talladega and the bigger one. So, but I like the idea of mixing it up a little bit. The champion should be someone who can be best overall at everything. That makes a true champion, I believe. So, anyways, I'm looking forward to that. So, and we'll see what happens there. So it's going to be interesting. And also, Dale Jr. is running Saturday earlier in the Xfinity race. This is one race a year. Yeah, he's starting 30th, but it'll be it's the same day because they're running them. It's a doubleheader Saturday. So, but yeah, remember one a year. I think it has to do with his sponsor. In order to get the sponsors for JR Motorsports, he has to run one race in the car a year. It's a second car. It's not the 9, but or the 7, but it's a different car. I think number 30 is what I saw. So we'll see. So
should be interesting. Terry Wilcox, Terry the Chicken Man, talking NASCAR, our resident NASCAR expert. But Terry, we appreciate your time as always. But before we let you go, we can't let you out of here without getting silly with T. Willie.
That's right. When I was younger, my dad used to throw cameras at me all the time, and I still have flashbacks.
Hey, come on, Terry Wilcox, the Chicken Man. Appreciate your time as always. We appreciate you, buddy.
Have a good day, guys.
All right. Terry, the Chicken Man. Mo, NASCAR at the Coliseum. Be interesting, won't it?
Yeah, no doubt.
Putting asphalt down or dirt or whatever they're going to do.
I mean, chariots at the Coliseum are one thing, but
that's what they should run. Oh man, that's good. Hey,
before we get out of here,
I'm trying to give us some time to talk some more news because we got so much news to get in today. So this is our time.
Yeah,
what you got?
UCF to the Big 12.
They've
applied.
Oh, they've applied. So UCF and Cincinnati have now applied to the Big 12.
So I guess we're waiting on Houston and BYU at this point. And here's the question, because somebody tweeted, where does the AAC go? If you were Jim Weber at Jim M. Weber. If you were AAC Commissioner Michael Oresco, which 4 teams would you target for realignment following the departure of Houston, Cincinnati, and UCF to the Big 12 and UConn to go independent? Excuse me. He says his picks are App State, Coastal, Marshall, and Army. And my question is, at what point does MTSU try to get themselves into the AAC, or at what point does the AAC look at MTSU?
So here's the thing about the AAC, and
is the AAC an upgrade from Conference USA?
Without Cincinnati or
UCF
UCF
and Houston.
and Houston, I mean, they have a TV deal in place. It's not a great one, but they have one in place.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see where you might want to move up just for that.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. I don't know what Marshall does for you outside of help Temple. Maybe. I mean, MTSU and UAB would be much more viable options for your footprint, which includes, Memphis, SMU, ECU,
Rice.
South Florida, Tulane, and Tulsa. You just make more sense with MTSU and UAB.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Rice is in Conference USA, not AAC. I got confused there. But yeah.
And if you need to add a third, Rice would be a great one.
To replace a Houston, perhaps.
Right. So it doesn't make sense to me if that's where you're gonna go. Why would you go Marshall? I don't know what Marshall brings you.
I'm not real sure either. It's going to be interesting, though. I had never really thought about, with the AAC losing potentially 3 teams, the domino effect as far as that goes. But that's certainly something to consider.
I'll be interested to see how this works out. Now, the question is, did UCF and Cincinnati just say, hey, here's our resume, call us if you need us, or did the Big 12 invite them to apply? Because that's not how it's being worded. It's not. They have not been extended invitations. That's why I'm curious about this one.
It's going to be interesting. I'm looking now at BYU is to the Big 12 as Liberty will be to the AAC.
Could be Liberty. Who knows? We'll be back with Teresa Walker on the other side of the break. Stick around. Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today returns right after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
Fast Stop Markets is a full-service, family-owned convenience store chain located in 14 locations throughout Middle and West Tennessee. For those in our listening area, you can find them in Columbia, Centerville, Lawrenceburg, Spring Hill, Dixon, and White Bluff.
Fast Stop partners with wholesale fuel brands like Shell, Marathon, and Exxon, delivering a consistent customer experience that is fast, friendly, and clean. If it's not already, it will soon become your go-to store to shop in town or on the road. Fast Stop Markets is proud to be keeping you moving in Tennessee.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ned Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com. Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Raiders to the two-tone blue, covering the teams you care about. It's only on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Live from the Lee Company studio with the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, here's Chris Yao.
Welcome back into Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. Glad to have you with us here on this Wednesday evening. Hump Day officially over for most everybody as we get you ready for your drive home on WKOM 1017 FM. I assume we're still on the WZYXradio.net since we're not. Assume on the stream we can just keep going. So that's exciting. You guys get second hour of our Wednesday show. Always fun. Some updated information from what we told you in the top stories is Nashville Overton now will take on Good Pasture Friday.